it is all go at Automotive Tales today. So you can probably hear the rattle of a diesel. That's not my Transit. It's actually a little Iveco. We're having a wood burner fitted, so we've just had a little platform up there to the chimney. But actually, car-wise, what we're doing is working on this lovely little Mazda 6. So you remember Greg, he appears in lots of my videos, he helps me out with all sorts of stuff. He's got a bit of a complaint with the Mazda, it's making some funny noises, so we're going to do sort of like a pre-MOT type check. We're going to get it up in the air and just have a good rattle around underneath, see what looks like it might be loose or worn out. Maybe it's a ball joint or a bush or something that's not looking great, and just generally give it a bit of a health check. So we've got the little rubber pads in on the jacking points, and time to get it up in the air. Right, well, in the time it took me to go and get the tripod, Greg's already got the car up, so time to go and have a look underneath the Mazda. What was the mileage on the car, Greg?
116,000.
116,000. Doesn't look too bad under here. Obviously, it's a UK car, so it's a little bit crusty, but the bushes don't look terrible.
I've lost it.
So yeah, it's just like
There's not one there, right?
little cosmetic things. So I wonder whether it's had... But it had some engine work, didn't it? You had the turbos done.
Yeah.
So maybe clips broke, things weren't reattached properly, maybe. Yeah. Well, I mean, that'll be an easy fix. All looks all right in here. All the rubbers look good.
It doesn't look too bad over there, does it?
No, everything looks all right on this side.
This is the thing that annoys me about it, is did you just run it until it goes pop?
Yeah. Were you saying that they've got a kind of lifespan of what? 130,000 miles, these engines?
So you've seen a lot of them with 130, 150,000 miles where they've carbonated up, they wear the camshafts out. There's a couple of bottom ends on these have gone as well. Dual mass flywheel's just starting to make a noise. It's not massive, it's working, but it's just starting to make a noise. So what do you do with it?
Yeah, do you run it into the ground? Do you trade it in now for something else and let it become somebody else's headache? Or, you know, it's a bit... I mean, look at it. It's dry as a bone under here.
It's been a good car otherwise. It's been 100% reliable.
You know, there's no weeps or leaks or anything.
No. But do you bank yourself 2.5, 3, 4 grand?
Yeah, while it's still functioning.
For what is potentially an engine rebuild. Because once you strip them, you're also into new camshafts. You're probably then into a new timing chain to go with it.
Yeah, well, you do everything in one go. If you have the engine out, you might as well do all the serviceable items, all the gaskets and seals and
potentially injectors. Because I think this one's had the modified copper seals on it, so this one doesn't suffer with the problem the earlier ones did. But the copper seals were known for going and dumping fuel into the engine as well.
Yeah, which is what causes a lot of the problems with these engines. Is you get fuel in the oil, and it just thins the oil out, and then it destroys its bottom end bearings and takes all the coatings off.
Now this should have had a lot of them gone. It's a real shame because it's a cracking engine to drive when it's working. These, but it's missing 2 bolts here now.
So if you've got a rattle,
it's just this heat shield lost the...
Yeah, and then we'll have a little look at the back end in a bit. Right, let's go and get the box of screws out and see what we can find.
Yeah.
If you're interested to know a little bit more about the car, Greg did actually do a video way back when. So I will stick a link. I can never remember which side it comes up at when I'm recording, whether it flips the video, but I'll stick a link up to the earlier video here. Right, shall we see if we can get some screws back in those heat shields? Yeah. Right, so I have my box of screws. Every time I take something apart, I always salvage the screws, as I suspect most people do. At some point, I would love to have a proper rack of all different thread sizes and lengths of nuts and bolts, so that I've always got stuff ready to go. But I don't really know where to go for those sorts of things these days. So if you've got a supplier, somebody that can kind of do the whole lot, so I can put like a nice rack on the wall, ignore the still unfinished electrics. But over on the workbench, have a rack of all nice nuts and bolts. So whenever we need to do a job like this, we can go and find X number of M8s or M10s or whatever it is we need just to put the thing back together. Yeah, bleep bloop in the comments below if you know where I might be able to get all of that from. Ideally in some sort of nice set of racking or, you know, display so that everything's kept nice and organised rather than lots of bags I've got to fish through. Right, so we need, I think, 4 fixings for under here. So we've got the one remaining screw out, and we've got the trusty tap and die set and our good old BDX and we're going to go and clean the threads that are underneath here, and then try and find the right ones to match and give the bolts, the bolts a clean before they go back in. M6x1 apparently is what holds the little heat shield on there, and there's 1, 2, 3 bolts at the back.
I was always taught half, back a quarter, forward half, back a quarter.
Yeah, so I do like a turn forward, half turn back, 1 turn forward, half turn back, same, but it's good. So we found the tap for that, and I've just run the die through our 3 new bolts. So I found 2 that were matching, 1 that's similar, so we'll put the 2 matching ones either side, and that the middle one. It's better than the one crusty one that came out, which is, well, I don't know where it's gone, it's around here somewhere.
Minus some washers.
One slightly minor addition, we're also going to use some washers. This was sort of the best option we got. It looks a little bit overkill, but if we look up here, the actual hole in the heat shield is quite big, and these things are so fragile, so we think the larger washer, well, it is a little bit overkill. It will spread the load nicely. So yeah, not the perfect thing for the job, but it will do and stop the rattle. But it's tight. Those 2 are definitely still fit.
It's still not moving anywhere now, is it?
Cool. Now we've got to deal with these ones, but I have a feeling I have some bad news for you, because from here, that looks like the screw is broken into it, or it's a stud that snapped off. And looking at the rest of them, none of them are studs, so it's a screw.
I'd just leave it. Let's leave it.
I mean, that's not going to give you a lot of noise.
Nah, it's fine.
It's fairly sturdy. If it does, I mean, I have got some reverse threaded drills. We'll see if we could back them out.
It'll be fine.
Oh.
This is the beam.
That's the one. Let's have a little look under the back.
Let's have a look.
Rightio. So the back end of the Mazda. Well, you can see the little motor unit that does the handbrake. Still in its original shocks, but they all look nice and dry. You say the springs have been done fairly recently. They don't look too bad. Drop links look a bit grotty, but they all look intact. Rear beam is looking very traditionally British weathered, and is looking a bit rusty, but nothing serious. It's all surface rust. Yeah, it all looks pretty good. Tyres look good. It's the same over here. It's got its little levelling sensor. Oh, looks good under there as well. Again, another original Mazda shock, looking nice and dry. Very nice. I wouldn't want to try and get some of the bolts off on the back of that handbrake actuator, but otherwise, yeah. They always look a bit grotty at the back, don't they? Because they see so much nasty. But again, loads of surface rust, but nothing serious. It all looks pretty good.
She's in reasonable order.
Yeah, exhaust looks really nice. Are they stainless from the factory?
I don't know, to be fair. Never looked.
It looks it.
Maybe the tips.
It's the original Mazda, but there's no corrosion on that. I mean, it's a bit on the centre pipe. Compared to the, the painted metal of the cross member, you'd think if that was mild steel, that'd have rotted away by now, but it all looks really nice. And the brackets and stuff. Yeah, she's good. You've probably got, I tell you what, you might just see it on the camera. There's a little thing for the heat shield at the back, which is gone, which isn't a bolt. It looks like a stud or almost a rivet. So you might find that you're getting a bit of rattle at the back here from that. That side looks okay. It is the original looks things. So yeah, maybe at some point look to, I don't quite know, just put a screw through it, but I don't know what's above that. It might be the fuel tank. Don't put a screw through that.
Well, fuel tank's in the middle.
Ah, okay. If you can hear a lot of noise in the background, that's because there is there's an Iveco just pulling off our lawn with his little lift platform. That is tight like a tiger. Wah! Always excitement here at Automotive Tales. Look at that. It's peace and quiet now. You might be able to hear me talking. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So, lying flat out under the Mazda, I've noticed something that's quite intriguing. I spotted what I thought were little brackets here when I was at the front, but you can see they've very clearly got jagged edges. Something's broken off here. Noticed, looks like there's a trim clip missing there, but actually not a trim clip for that panel. But you can see there is one just there. That's a trim holding on clip, and there's a bit of a recess. There obviously was a panel here somewhere, but it looks like that panel would have gone into these brackets. There's one there, and there's one just there that don't have bolts in them. So what's that all about? Where have the screws gone from there? When it's still in there, it's obviously been ripped off. And then a little bit further investigation, the heat shield here looks slightly damaged. So I wonder at some point earlier in its life it's clipped a speed bump, or it's clipped a branch or something. It's been driving along, it's taken that panel off, and it's just caught the heat shield as it slid back under the car, because there's no damage to the subframe, so it wasn't anything solid. But yeah, interesting. That's pretty solid despite being a bit crumpled, so that's not going to be causing any noise. Yeah, it's amazing what you find underneath.
Yeah.
But otherwise everything looks alright. Fuel tank straps look good. No dents in the fuel tank, which is always a nice thing to see. Quite an interesting setup on the suspension here as well. Look at that, the arm that comes back that way. It's like a pressed plate. I wouldn't want to try and get that out and replace that bush. That's a hell of a job. 3 really great big bolts there holding on to the rear hub. And then it's got arms that come back. It's a proper multi-link system. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4 link. Plus the shock and the spring and the anti-roll bars.
That's why they drive so well.
Yeah,
Such
maybe.
a good driver's car.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be no flex in that.
No.
It's not like having a leaf spring where it'll just flex all over the place.
No.
Very good. Right, well, fairly clean bill of health for the little Mazda. The not so little Mazda. Right, send her down. Very good. I wasn't watching the leg of the camera stand. I feel I should point out, because you can see this in the video, this wasn't drips from the Mazda on the lift. That was from the Transit. And actually, as a result of that video, one of my subscribers and dear neighbour Chris brought me around these little things, which sort of look like a piece of fabric. And, well, they are. They're sort of a very high absorbency paper cloth, I guess is the right term. So these are designed for absorbing oil. So with the black tray that I had, which wasn't obviously working very well, if I'd kept these in, these absorb the oil and you can take it out in these. And apparently they will separate oil and water as well, which is quite useful. So yeah, so thank you, Chris, for these. And these will be useful next time we've got a drippy vehicle on the lift, because I do need to bring the Transit back in because we have a new fault. But that's a problem for another day. But yeah, how cool is that? So yeah, little oil drip cloth thingies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Next time on Automotive Tales. So next job in the workshop is going to be doing some brakes on a Kia Stinger, which you've seen in some previous videos, belongs to Dr. Nuff. And we're blessed with beautiful sunshine for the first time this year, or second time this year, which is lovely. But you will notice I am sat in the Transit because it definitely has another problem. So we've just done a bit of diagnosis on it, The alternator light has come on. It had intermittently been coming on over the past couple of journeys and then going off again, so I wasn't that concerned. Every time I tested it, it was still showing 14.4. Now we're getting a flat 12 volts. We've done some continuity tests. All the cables and earths seem to be fine. So we have a dead alternator. And looking closely at the belt is not long for this world either. So looks like the van will be going in at some point in the next couple of weeks for yet more repairs. Fucking thing.